You all hear about us talking about the Caring Heart program and the good works that it is doing behind the scenes, and it's a way for us to thank and to celebrate exceptional care. Two very special people, Gary and Lisa Philipson, came to me a couple of months ago and wanted to do something very, very special back to all those folks that meant so much to them while they were here during their care. And so when they started to tell their story, it was so meaningful. I asked if they would be part of today's agenda so that they could share their journey with you from coming right in the ER to still being part of inpatient or outpatient rehab. So I'd like to introduce Gary and Lisa Philipson to tell their story.
Good afternoon. Thank you for letting me share my story with you today. It's really great to be back here at Faxton St. as a visitor rather than a patient. Although I have to admit, I do miss Coral tying my shoes every morning. If anyone would have told me a year ago that today I would be up here speaking to the community about my recovery from a stroke, I would have thought they were crazy. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a pretty healthy guy. People in our neighborhood would see me walk almost every morning, rain or shine, walking our Beagle on a 2-mile route. I went to a personal trainer 2 times a week, ate pretty healthy, watched my weight, and went to a doctor on a regular basis. I did everything right. 2 weeks after returning from a family ski trip to Vermont, on Tuesday, January 8th, I drove to our store in Rome, sat down at my desk, and suddenly couldn't feel anything on my right side. Just as I slumped to the floor, one of our managers came in to ask me a question, saw me on the floor, and called 911. I was taken to St. Luke's Hospital by ambulance and immediately seen by Dr. Amernath, whose son Arjun happens to be a close friend of my son Jeremy's. He quickly performed the necessary tests and then administered TPA, the clot-busting drug. He told me later that the goal is to get the TPA into the patient within 1 hour. I received it in 31 minutes, a hospital record, one that Dr. Amernath and I are extremely proud of. And so my unlikely journey began. I spent 4 days in the critical care unit and 2 days on the stroke floor under the care of Dr. Scott Brea. Scott then decided that I should go to Buffalo General Hospital for a consult there. After 2 days in Buffalo, I returned to Utica and was admitted to Faxton inpatient rehab for what would turn out to be a 7-week stay. I have to tell you, I don't remember much about those first few weeks post-stroke, but I do remember the wonderful care offered by the CCU and stroke floor nurses. I remember meeting my therapist at Faxton, Coral, Christy, John, and Olivia, and listening to their determination to help me speak, walk, and use my right arm again. I remember wanting a sip of water so bad and not understanding why Mary and Irina wouldn't let me have one. And I remember each and every one of Scott's unforgettable outfits. Luckily for me, my wife Lisa was not only a wonderful source of support, but a terrific historian as well. After being overwhelmed by phone calls, emails, and text messages from everyone wanting the latest news about my condition, she decided to start a blog on CaringBridge. Through this website, she was able to keep an online journal where family and friends could get updates and then post comments and words of encouragement. As I look back and read her posts from my 2 months in rehab, it's hard for me to remember what it was like and how much we rejoiced at every achievement. Lisa's journal reminds me where I was and how far I've come. Let me quote a few excerpts. January 18th. The staff at Faxton is wonderful, attending to his needs. This is sooner than I thought I was going to cry. The staff at Faxton is wonderful, attending to his needs, making him comfortable, and treating him like a person instead of a patient. And I can't say enough about Dr. Brayall, who gives me encouragement and comfort every time he checks on Gary. February 6th. Today marks 3 weeks at Faxton, and I can't believe how much he has accomplished since he moved in. He is now able to manage his ADLs, activities of daily living, by himself with little assistance from me. In fact, he gets mad when I try and help him. March 10th. Well, it's been an emotional weekend. Our last day at St. Luke's was very bittersweet. We had to say goodbye to all of Gary's great therapists and terrific nurses, and they had to say goodbye to their star patient. We all went through a lot together, and it was very hard to leave our home away from home. At the end of his last therapy session, they rolled out a red carpet and had Gary walk down it while the entire staff clapped and cheered. It was like graduation day. Now, 10 months later, it's impossible for me to believe that when I came to Faxton St. Luke's, I could not walk without a walker. I needed a nurse to help me navigate the 6 steps into the bathroom. I could not eat or drink anything for over a month, getting all of my nutrition through a feeding tube. I could not use my right hand to brush my teeth, make a fist, or squeeze a ball. I needed help getting dressed every morning and used a wheelchair to get to and from therapy every day. And I could not make myself understood on the phone. And none of this prevented my wife from expecting an anniversary present. As I read through Lisa's posts and recall my journey, I would be remiss if I did not thank so many people at Faxton St. Luke's who not only helped me smooth my path, but who also gave Lisa so much comfort and advice. Thank you, Rick, who took care of all the details associated with my admittance and discharge from rehab. Thank you, Wayne, for walking me up and down the halls every weekend. Thank you, Dr. Wade, for the weekly checkups. Thank you, Carol and Mitch, for overseeing the staff and for letting me have all those visitors in the lounge every night. Thank you, Natasha, for the wonderful showers. Thank you, Linda, for your sense of humor. And Linda, no, I am not in any pain. Thank you, Mary, Irina, Fortune, Mila, Patty, and Elena for treating me with care and dignity. Thank you, Courtney, for the visits with Tucker. Thank you, Amanda, Rich, Zach, and Meg for my improvements in outpatient care therapy. And I especially thank Dr. Braille, Dr. Amarnath, Coral, Christy, John, and Olivia for helping me to get to where I am today. It is so gratifying when I see someone from Faxton St. Luke's out in the community and have them do a double take, when they can see me doing the everyday things that just 10 months ago I couldn't do at all. Lisa told me that during the first few days of my hospitalization, she spoke to many people about post-stroke rehab, particularly a friend of my sister's who was a neurosurgeon in Boston. While much of what he had to say did not apply to me, one thing stood out. He told her that my best chance of recovery would not be at a large rehab center in, say, Buffalo or Albany, but at a local rehab center in my own community. Why? Because of the more personal care and commitment that local hospitals offer. Because of the critical support of family and friends who can come by to say hello and offer encouragement on a regular basis. and because a community rehab center will want to see one of their own succeed. Obviously, he was right. People get involved in charitable organizations for a number of reasons. Because they feel passionate about the cause, because a particular disease has touched someone they love, or because they want to pay it forward. Prior to January 8th, our family's only connection to Faxton St. Luke's had been the maternity ward, where Lisa delivered all 3 of our children. But during an 8-month period, I was a patient in the emergency room, in the critical care unit, on the stroke floor, at the old Faxton rehab unit, at the new St. Luke's rehab unit, and finally, back to outpatient rehab. Eileen, could I at least get a t-shirt? During that time, I experienced nothing but the best of care, comfort, and compassion from everyone I met. I know that without the support of my doctors, therapists, and nurses, not to mention my wonderful family and friends, I would not be standing up here, walking to the podium, turning the pages of my speech with my right hand, taking a sip of water, and speaking to the crowd. I would not be able to thank everyone and pay it forward. And so as I continue on my journey to 100% recovery, I am a grateful patient, and we are a grateful family. To pay it forward, Lisa and I have set up a special fund to purchase additional gym equipment for inpatient rehab. I hope that our small token of thanks will in the future help other people recover from injuries and stroke in much the same way that I have. I know that some people call me an inspiration, and I appreciate that. But really, I am just a regular guy who had something bad happened to him. I was in the right place. I was in the right place at the right time when it happened. And as a result, with the help of Faxton St. Luke's, my family and friends, I'm lucky to be here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Philipson and to the entire team in the intensive rehab and stroke and emergency department. You've got to experience the Caring Hearts program. Wow, that was overwhelming. So thank you so much for sharing your story. And to the team, thank you.